Holy cow, so freaking pod.
Chapter 23.
Hey, it's Chuuurls.
It's Cherrydoom.
It's Chad.
It's time for a chapter. Let's talk about it.
Alright, so here's what happened. Christian shows up at the bar and beverages are quaffed. Anna Mom totally loves him, but when she goes off to the powder room, Anastasia confronts Christian about how his relationship with Mrs. Robinson is fucked up. Mom comes back. He goes back to his hotel room. Anna Mom tells Anna to go up there and fuck him. Christian and Anna rendezvous in the hotel room, discuss the Mrs. Robinson thing, fuck a couple times in the bathroom/bath. Christian reveals he paid to hit people or whatever, and they trade trivia about themselves when lying around in the Egyptian cotton streets. There were 2 sex scenes. They're very short. Basically, the first one was period sex bent over the bathroom counter, and that says it all. Notable as the first time they do not use a condom. No more foil packets, yahoo! And the second time is just some confusing bath sex. Who knows what happened?
Don't know what happened, but it was in a bathtub while there was water in the bathtub.
That sounded like cookies and bath sex.
Okay, pet theories. I have to explain this again. Alright. So, my theory this week is an overarching theory. It's not only to do with this book, but it is the FFS theory. Fertile female sub theory. It is the fertile female sub percentage. A week ago, give or take, I went to the movies by myself for the first time. In retrospect, when talking with friends, I jokingly said that the probability that I will be taken out to the movies by a man is determined by my FFS, or my fertile female status, and how high that is. The problem with the fertile female status is that many of the values are dictated by a man. I think that we said it was current childbearing ability, how hot others perceive me to be, and my perceived desires to be a sex haver. Obviously, the latter two are not in my control. But anyways, now my research is complete, and I realized the FFS does not stand for fertile female status. It stands for fertile female sub. My working theory is that doms force subs to go to movies in ways that we don't understand. Forces that we don't understand are at work here. Christian Grey forced me to be Captain America, Winter Soldier from beyond the fiction and reality barrier. No, I did not. No, this has got nothing to do with my interest. No. That would never... No. I don't go to the movies by myself. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't... What?
It's perfectly fine to go to a movie by yourself. I mean, you're not going to talk to the person you're with, so what's the point?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's my opinion.
I mean, what if there happens to be a cute guy in the movie? But anyways, my theory now is that Anastasia will be forced to see a movie at some point.
Probably. Christian and Anna are Pokemon. I think we may have mentioned something like this before, but there's a quote. We are wet mouths and tongues, tangled hair and moving hips. Obviously, this is Tangela and Lickitung together at last. What will they produce when you breed them? Obviously, if you're doing a Beyond Gen 1.
Yes. It's really hard. I actually don't know which... I think the mother determines the type. Is that wrong? Probably is.
I don't actually know anything about Pokemon past the original generation.
Yeah, me either. Anyway... but where do the hips come from? I posited those perhaps Hitmonlee?
Hitmonlee?
Hitmonlee.
I don't know. I can't think of a Pokemon with hips. I mean, they exist, but not like, specifically, like the Pokemon's thing is they have hips.
Well, now
like
we know.
all the sexy lady type Pokemon, I guess, like Jinx to some extent, and like some of the later ones.
Yeah.
What's that one that everybody wants to fuck? Lucario?
Oh, what?
I believe it's Gardevoir.
Yeah, I just said that, which is why I was really shocked when she said Lucario.
Lucario. Isn't Lucario one of the legendary Pokemon?
It's like a bird seal man.
Yeah.
It's like an Anubis.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew. Ah.
I guess we could write the Pokemon people, and we could maybe have them make a Pokemon that's like sort of like Cubone or Marowak, just like wears hips, the hips of its defeated enemies.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the other day that the pelvis sort of looked like a pair of underwear.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a butterfly to me.
Looks like some bones to me. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what it looks like. I've never seen a pelvis. Christian Grey is a ghost or something. one that possesses mouths. There's a line in the book where Anastasia says that, like, he's possessing her mouth, which is sort of a jerk thing to do. You could do the whole body. It's better to me. Why just the mouth? What was he going to do with it?
Oh, there was additional evidence for Christian being a ghost. I was an idiot. I didn't even open my PDF, but I think I remember actually what the line is. Her mother says, "Anna, honey, what's wrong?" And Anastasia goes, "It's Christian! He's here!" And, like, you know, her mother can't see him, but Anastasia can sense him.
Yeah, she says, I think Anastasia's mom specifically says to her that she looks like she's seen a ghost. And and she says, "It's him, he's here." After she says that to
yeah,
Anna.
that's why.
Yeah.
He's standing right behind you, Mom. And then she looks in the bar mirror, but he's not there.
My second pet theory is that Christian is showing his true form by commanding Anastasia to sleep at the end. There's a line, literally at the end, where Anna says, like, "Sleep," he commands. The implication is that he's some sort of a wizard or a witch or something, or perhaps it's the concrete elemental thing again, and he's just putting his golem to bed. We may never know.
Time for another section. That section is called Mechanics. I glance quickly down at my hands, clear beneath the water, as the bubbles have started to disperse. So that's, I glance quickly down at my hands, comma, clear beneath the water, as the bubbles have started to... So the sentence sounds like Anastasia is saying that her hands are clear.
Whoa, she's a ghost.
She's a ghost. Well, I think what she meant to say was that she can see her hands clearly. And also at the end, okay, this is an American, I'm just going to shove it in here. Clear beneath the water as the bubbles have started to disperse, as in become. The office is empty as I have left for lunch.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. All right, and then we also have, "I'm just trying to understand. You're such an enigma. Unlike anyone I've met before. I'm glad you're telling me what I want to know." Okay, so I'm just trying to understand, comma, you're such an enigma, period. Unlike anyone I've met before, period. Really, the way it should be is, I'm just trying to understand, period. You're such an enigma, comma, unlike anyone I've met before. And then, I'm glad you're telling me what I want to know. I don't know why I included that, but I was probably mad at it.
It does seem like a little bit of a non sequitur.
Yeah.
Or just a little, like, maybe, I don't know, not quite related.
Maybe it should be like a paragraph break.
Or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I have a couple notes. The first big thing is that the style in this chapter seems to be really scattershot. It's just extremely inconsistent, and at times it seems a little incoherent to me. Internally in paragraphs, the pacing is just extremely jarring. Characters will just say, sort of like the thing above where they have like sort of non sequitur lines, which Chuuurls mentioned, like, "I'm glad you're telling me what I want to know," which doesn't necessarily follow from what was being said before. Characters will say like 3 different things about 3 different situations all in the same paragraph. And then Anna's like narration is a lot more interrupted. There's a lot more dashes and a lot more ellipses, and it just gives it this weird rushed feeling, like maybe E.L. James wrote this in a hurry.
The book is collapsing.
So the second thing, I think this is something Anastasia says to Christian. She says, "I do trust you, but I do want to know you better," which is technically fine, but I would scratch the second "do," so I would just have, "I do trust you, but I want to know you better."
It kind of sounds like it was a setup for, like, and this is just a sample sentence, not like a story relevant sentence, like, "I don't eat meat, but I do eat fish." But instead it became, "I do eat meat, and I do eat fish." Like, I think maybe in an earlier draft it might have been something different.
Just
some food for thought.
But maybe she just can't write.
Yum.
So the last thing is a thing that Anna says. "Truth or dare time. My subconscious and inner goddess glance nervously at each other. Hell, let's go for truth." The confusing part about this is the italicized part. And this has happened a few times before. We've picked it out where the italics isn't clear, like who it's supposed to correspond to. Is it the inner goddess? Is it the subconscious? Is it Anna's internal thoughts? And since the subconscious and the inner goddess seem to be agreeing here, are they both saying it in unison? It just isn't clear at all.
Also, she says truth or dare, and Okay, Christian asked her a question, and she thinks truth or dare time. But what's the dare?
He dares you to tell the truth.
Yeah, this seems.
I think it was actually shit or bust time.
Yeah, this is more of a shit or bust moment.
Okay, it's the Americant section. I think rather than explaining why we think that these are blah blah, let's just all say them really quick in British accents. Are you ready?
Okay.
That's a damned cheek coming from you.
In my book, that's damn cheeky coming from you. I forgot the accent.
That's okay. You don't have to do it. It's optional. Did you buy that top? He nods at my brand new green silk camisole. The color suits you, and you've caught some sun. You look lovely.
I don't care how rich you are. You don't drop everything and get in your private plane to cross a whole continent just for afternoon tea.
Oh, for pity's sake, Anastasia. What do you want to know? What do I have to do? Alright, it's time for wording.
Alright. You're staying here? I sound like a sophomore on amphetamines, too high-pitched even for my own ears. This is like, I don't know, this simile is so strange. Like, she's never mentioned drugs or anything like that before, and this is a very strange, like, tone shift, I guess. Like, there haven't been these sort of outlandish, humorous similes.
I feel like an 80s investment banker on Quaaludes.
Despite all my rage, I'm still just a sophomore on amphetamines.
And, like, why a sophomore? Like, a sophomore as in just someone who's immature? Or, like, specifically a college or high school sophomore?
I think specifically college.
Why a sophomore? Why not a freshman?
Because a freshman is too goody two-shoes to try anything new, but when you're a sophomore, you'll start doing that weird shit.
I think just because it sounds more colorful than any of the other grades.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe Anna had a stint with amphetamines during her sophomore year.
It doesn't sound like it.
Probably not. Your turn.
Yes, the return of Christian Grey's smile. The line goes something like this. He gives her his heart-stopping, Christian Grey patented, full-blown, no-prisoner smile, and I hate it. This is Christian smiling at her mom.
Also, yeah. Hating it was something that you, Chad, did, not something that Anastasia did. It just wasn't clear.
No,
Sorry.
I hate it. All the women in the book can't resist his smile.
And as we've mentioned before, taking no prisoners means that you don't leave anyone alive to capture. So
it's true.
She killed her mom. Right, okay. Anna's mom says, phew, the UST in here, it's unbearable. And I was wondering if, like, do you guys know what this phrase means?
No, I still don't.
Yes, I did. I do.
It means unresolved sexual tension, and is basically a term for in a story where two characters clearly have a very sexual chemistry with each other, but they do not have sex. And it's basically just building tension for the audience to enjoy and like think about and giggle about, but that is never resolved. So one might say that, you know, it can never go bad because, like, you know, they can never come to completion.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, the drawback is that if it keeps going, like if someone, because I think this comes from TV, and so the problem there is that if you just have a TV series sustained by two characters never getting together, eventually people will get tired of it.
Yeah, like, you know, Jim and Pam. But then they did, okay, so maybe that's the British thing, because, you know, in the British version they never got together, but in the American version they did.
British version is also a lot shorter, though.
Yeah.
Did we mention that E.L. James used to be a TV executive, or still is, possibly?
Oh,
that
yeah.
is why,
That's
perhaps, that she uses this term. If the mom is an E.L. James self-insert, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, well, with all the Diet Coke and Cosmos.
Yeah, the way around that usually is you have the characters that are obviously supposed to get together with the wrong people continuously. I've never actually seen Friends, but that's basically how Friends works, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
And is this unresolved sexual tension if they have had sex? I guess so, still.
No. They're together.
Yeah.
There's nothing unresolved about it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Mom. Et tu, Brute? Et tu, Brute? I stand gazing up at him, imploring him to answer my question. And he kisses me. Okay, that wasn't necessary to read. Why was that there? I'm not really mad about this one, but it's, and you, Brutus? That's right. Anastasia's mom has put a literal knife in her back because she was charmed by the manipulative dude that manipulated Anastasia into dating him. I just feel like this is a little hypocritical. But also just, I think it's kind of funny. Anastasia, she must have a thing for like Hellenist. How do I say this word? I'm so stupid. I've forgotten everything I've learned. But basically, it's funny how she...
I think that's right.
Okay, well, it's funny how she keeps going back to like all this like Greek and Roman mythology stuff.
Yeah, the two things.
But not that it's mythology, but it's also history as well.
Yeah, well, this line is also... I mean, it is attributed as being a thing he said, but it was popularized by
Shakespeare's
the play.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is probably why she knows it.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's really more... Ostensibly, her specialty is British literature, like classic
Shakespeare
British
would fall into that, so...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes. Anastasia, once Christian gets her up to his room at the hotel, she describes the room as, or in the following way. The furnishings here are ultra-modern, very now. Which is, sort of par for the course for E.L. James. It's just more of this really terrible non-description. And it really seems like just E.L. James doesn't know what she's talking about, so to cover for it, she's using sort of buzzwordy things. Like, it's more of like she doesn't really know what's contemporary, so she's just saying it's contemporary. Like, oh, it's contemporary. She's telling you that to try to make you believe it. I mean, it could also be a result of her trying to keep from having her work be dated in the future, but I don't really think she was thinking that way. Yeah, and also in keeping with her age, it's this sort of thing like 80s and 90s yuppies would say, like, oh, it's so very now, it's ultra-modern.
I think you gave the example of Lydia's parents in Beetlejuice.
It's like exactly the sort of thing that like Lydia's parents would say. Like her mom as the like weird contemporary
designer,
artist.
yeah,
Like,
sculptress.
It's so now.
I flush Stars and Stripes red. This is a very strange, red to pull. First of all, that's extremely, extremely red. That's quite a hyperbole in my opinion.
Wouldn't it just be pink, actually?
Yeah.
Because it's not just stripes. Stars and stripes.
Well, if you had the blue in, it would be a light purple.
Purple. Maybe she's suffocated.
No breath play.
I thought this was funny because, like, she didn't say Union Jack red. It's like this very strange way to make her sound American without actually making her sound American. Like, oh, like, that's so American.
Yeah.
Stars and stripes. This is the perfect characterization.
I totally buy this. Yes.
Should we rewrite sections of the book to be like someone trying really hard to cover for their un-Americanness? Like the first time he spanks her, something like, oh, and I'm like, you can see the red, white, and blue, or something like that. Just like really 50s propaganda style thing.
That's horrendous.
I think I'm in love with him, I mutter.
I know, darling. And he with you.
No!
Yes, Anna! Hell, what do you need? A neon sign flashing on his forehead?
I gape at her and tears prick at the corner of my eyes.
Anna, darling, don't cry.
This is Anna and her mom, by the way.
Yeah, this is Anna and her mom. I was the mom. I feel like the mom really breaks tone here. Like, yes, I was overacting on that second line. However, I mean, like, you go from saying, like, oh, darling, darling, to, like, hell, what do you need? Like, that's... I don't know.
I don't know if this is as aggressive as you think it is. I think it might be a bit more like, come on, girlfriend, get with the picture. He's all over you.
It's just such, like, a coarse way to say it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't say that. Like, what if Chad was like, I think I'm in love with her. And I was like, I think she is too, with you. And he was like, no, I don't really think so. Hell, what do you need, you idiot? Like,
Jesus, you fucking moron. Can't you tell?
I don't know. I think that sounds like it'd be pretty par for the course.
For how Chuuurls interacts with people?
yeah.
Just the whole Chad dynamic.
The whole
Oh,
Chad Chuuurl dynamic is intrinsically fucked. Alright, go ahead, Chad.
He climaxes and calls my name like it's a litany or a prayer. A litany is a type of prayer, so fuck you, E.L. James.
Fuck you. Christian bends and runs his nose along my shoulder and up to the base of my ear, his fingers slipping into my hair. He's just wiping his bugs on her. Just wiping his bugs on her. This is not that sexy. It's a little weird.
You.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly the context of this line.
Doesn't matter.
Let's just say Christian is holding her at gunpoint, and
No. It means she's not saying anything, even though somebody's prompting her to.
Yes. So Anna says, "But I hold my counsel," which is an idiom I've never heard anyone use, and certainly not anyone like around my age. And as Chuuurls said, it just means like she withholds her thoughts, like she keeps from saying something. Usually, I think it's like keep my counsel, but
It's actually hold my own counsel. And by the way, this is CONSEL, not CONCIL. So take that.
Okay. See how you feel. Which is, of course, contradictive. You would feel how you feel.
Oh, that is wrong.
This is basically just nitpicking, and I know people would use this all the time, but I just thought it was funny.
It's kind of funny. Are you making fun of me, Mr. Gray? I wouldn't dare. Oh, I think you would. And I think you do. Often. If this sounds familiar to you, it's because you read it before. If it doesn't sound familiar to you, give this a try. I can't. You're funny. Funny, peculiar, or funny, haha. A bit of both, I think. His words mirror mine. No kidding, they do, because you already fucking read this conversation. You used my voice to move. That's all you did.
I will be honest, I think sometimes that sort of thing can work.
Yes, but now is not one of these times.
No, because these characters are awful and the book is awful. It's not a good callback. It's not even an appropriate callback.
I just don't even feel like the basis, or rather the thing that she's calling back to, itself was bad.
Yeah, I mean, and usually when you do this sort of thing, it's because it's to mark a particular moment in a character arc, like when situations and contexts have changed, either people have grown or things are in a worse spot or something. Anyway, he looks so hot. But no, actually, she would probably say like he looks so hot. You think at this point James would have like looked up some new words to describe things, like how people look when they're so hot or whatever. She just wants to repeat herself endlessly, as Chuuurls just pointed out above, rather than do something new. She'll just recycle what she has already. We should probably tally how many times like this particular phrase comes up.
Let's not, because we're gonna kill ourselves. There's actually a blog which does this very thing. It's called, I don't remember what it's called.
Is it called, I detonate around him, correct?
I detonate around him.tumblr.com. Let's chat again.
Yes, your face was a picture, a Kodak moment. I just felt like this reference was dated.
Definitely.
Yeah, I did know what it was, but yeah, it's kind of like, maybe instead you should say something like, your face looks so hilarious, like, I wish I had a camera.
Situational. I'm staying in this hotel. Quite a coincidence, eh? Okay, so what happened is that they have been drinking at the bar in the hotel that Christian is staying at. This seems like a really, really big coincidence. Like, I feel like they would not go to a hotel to drink because that is a place for people who are out of town. I would think that maybe the mom would want to show her, a more local type bar.
Maybe.
Not a bar for foreigners.
Foreigners.
But then again, I looked it up, and Savannah seems like it's a pretty small town. Smaller than I realized. There's only 150,000 people there.
That is small.
But still, I would think that there would be some sort of, like, funky local bar. Maybe, like, a place with, like, a super jacked-up price wine bar or something.
I think because of the age difference between Anna and her mom, it makes it difficult to go to certain bars, because either you go to, like, a super old people bar, or you go to, like, a super young person bar. So
that makes sense, yeah.
I don't know. Are hotel bars old people bars? I feel like they're more like egalitarian. Like it's usually middle age is the average.
Yeah, I mean, because it's usually like business people hanging out.
Yeah, like because that's who stays in hotels. There you go.
Also, they were like out shopping, so I mean, it just have been like an easy place to stop, and also a place
But they did go home first,
right?
Anyway, do you guys think this is an actual coincidence?
Yes,
I do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like the way that hotel arrangements work, too. Like, how could he possibly know? That would be like a time paradox. Like,
and
not only that, but like he wouldn't have a way of knowing that they were going to stop at that hotel bar.
Okay, like I mean, first is the fact that he came here at all.
That's not coincidence.
that's not a coincidence, obviously. But I think that for a book, maybe this is too much of a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the narrative, not in the scheme of Christian being a creep.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I guess, okay, yeah. It's definitely him being a creep. Do you really think it's that suspension of disbelief breaking? Because I think, like, given how small you say Savannah is, how many nice hotels are they really going to have?
I guess. I don't like it. It sticks.
Yeah.
I think maybe it might be possible that he tracked her phone or something. Like, he got Savannah, he was like, I wonder where she is right now. And then it's like, oh, she's here. Might as well go down to the bar.
All right, I'm only going to be very brief about this one. In this chapter, there's a line. Is it so unbelievable that I could attract a man? This man? End quote. So, there is, if you're not aware, a work based on 50 Shades of Grey, rather obviously, called This Man. And I wonder if this is where she got the title of her book, but even so, it is interesting that she chose this passage because it's not that remarkable.
Well, the next chapter, I noticed that she says stuff about this man or this gorgeous man a couple times, so she like starts using that phrase a little bit more.
Okay.
So maybe it becomes more
I could see that.
apparent or thematic or something. More liftable.
But anyways, so let's just keep our little eyeballs on that and see what happens. Go ahead, Chad.
Holy hell, only Christian would make a meal out of ordering a drink. So the drink is just gin and tonic.
Do you want to read the line that he does?
You can do it.
Okay. I'll have a gin and tonic, Christian says. Hendrix if you have it, or Bombay Sapphire. Cucumber with the Hendrix, lime with the Bombay. So he's not really making a meal out of it. He's saying if you have this kind of gin, use that kind of garnish, or not a garnish. What I don't know what the fuck you call that.
Garnish, yeah.
But not really, because the lime is in it, isn't it? Don't they squeeze the lime into the gin and tonic? Am I dumb?
I think you squeeze it at your own discretion.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's resting on the.
Well,
yeah.
I was indiscreet times in the past when I've had this. For the record, lime with the Bombay. So, anyways, yeah, he's just clarifying what kind of thing he wants with what kind of gin. And Anastasia seems to be thinking that he actually wants all these kinds of gins and all these kinds of garnishes.
Okay. Put yourself in my shoes. I haven't had to justify my actions to anyone in the last 7 years, not to one person. I do as I wish, Anastasia. I like my autonomy. I didn't go and see Mrs. Robinson to upset you. Blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah.
Okay, so he's mad about Anastasia being jealous about him going to see Mrs. Robinson. And I don't know, this whole thing is weird, and I guess just, show how much they like each other, that, Christian's allowed to be super mad at Anastasia for hanging out with Jose, even though they're just friends, just like he is with Mrs. Robinson. Like, they need to put themselves in each other's shoes and see that they're doing the exact goddamn thing.
I agree.
I think they even mention it, but, they don't come to any sort of resolution about
I agree, but I feel like Anastasia makes worse decisions. But that could be just, a victim-blaming thing on my part. It's just that,
Well, they're both victims of these people.
Oh, interesting. I guess I didn't look at it that way before. But it's true. Also, I have to say, this double standard, I feel like I have that more against men. I definitely trust women more not to be like that with their exes and with people of the gender that they're attracted to. And in other words, I trust women, but I don't think men often have the same kind of trust when Chuuurls is in the picture. I think it kind of depends on the guy, though. Some guys, they are friends with girls. Chad's friends with girls, that's normal. But some people, they're never friends with girls, and then suddenly they start hanging out with a girl. It's like, what's this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay.
So, yes, I'll try to sum up quickly. So, Anastasia, her mom goes to, change her adult diaper or something, and, Christian is like, are you mad about Mrs. Robinson? And then Anastasia kind of airs out her grievance, and she starts okay, sort of. She says, I think of her as a child molester, Christian. And he's like, that's very judgmental. It wasn't like that. But it was like that. Okay, so far so good. She took advantage of a vulnerable 15-year-old boy. If you'd been a 15-year-old girl and Mrs. Robinson was a Mr. Robinson, okay, this is where we go badly. Tempting you into the BDSM lifestyle. That would have been okay. So she's dumb to include the BDSM part. Anastasia, you like BDSM. Stop fucking pretending that it's this big deal that, like, he's somehow a monster for liking these things. He's not. You're stupid. You're bad. He's very misguided, man, but his problems have not much to do with BDSM.
Yep.
Okay, and that was followed up very badly. I don't think you'll ever convince me that she's not some kind of pedophile. I don't think of her that way. I never have. Now that's enough, he snaps. Did you love her? Did you? Alright, well, okay, so this situation easily gets very tense, and, like, this is not the right place to discuss it. Like, he brought it up himself. But anyways, I mean...
Yeah, he did, but I mean, it was basically the crux of their email argument that Anna brought up.
Well, that's true, but, like, you know, there's a time and
Still,
place.
yeah, they should not be talking about this when her mom could be back any minute, and she is back in, like, 2 seconds from now. She's like, what's going on, you two?
What's going on? So anyways, to sum up, Christian's in hardcore denial. Anastasia almost had the right idea, but then ruined it by bringing in the fetish aspect. Bing, bam, boom. Go ahead, Chad.
You're jealous? He stares at me, dumbfounded. Which, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that she's jealous.
I don't understand how he could not have figured this out before. Like, every time they've discussed, like, she'd be like, oh, she got to touch you? I mean, it's just like the thing where Anna's always like, he likes me? Even though he said he likes her many, many times.
Yeah.
It's just, come on. Nobody has any permanence.
How dare all these service people and woman slaves look at you, Christian? How dare you be in the same presence as a woman who's not your adopted family member? How dare you? How you dare? Oh, how you dare.
Okay, so Anna and Christian meet while the mom is there. Christian leaves, and then Anna's mom basically says, why don't you go fuck him? It's
yeah, that's weird.
kind of weird. Especially since, like, Anna has never had a boyfriend, and they're just super casual about this, even though, like, they've never discussed this sort of thing before, as far as I know. Like, her mom has never encouraged her to go fuck someone. I don't know, it's weird. She's like, you know, be careful, you're grown up, or whatever.
You know, it's weird, because I think maybe E.L. James was thinking of the reverse gender situation, where, like, maybe a dad and a kid and his son are at the bar, and he's like, go get her, slugger! Like, but that doesn't happen either. Like, it's just this, like, strange idea that your parent is, like, kind of your cheerleader and not, like, their own person who doesn't want to think about you having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of sounded like her mom had done something similar, like kept trying to egg her on to hook up with Jose or something.
Not hook up. No.
Oh, that's right. She did they have a
I thought there was
call?
something with that boy, Jose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was ever like, Anna, just fuck that boy. Fuck him right now.
Maybe that was the subtext.
No. It's inappropriate.
Okay. So they're discussing the contract again. He's like, I want you to, you know, live this lifestyle with me. And then Anna's like, but at what personal cost? I'm tied up in knots here. I like you tied up in knots.
Dumb joke.
And then Anna splashes him and then gets fucked. This is a perfect example of Anna wanting to discuss / negotiate and getting shut down by Christian's dick. Also, this is just, yeah, like Chuuurls was saying, this is just another thing where, like, a dom uses, like, a very obvious and sometimes tired joke, and is very self-satisfied with it. And it's like, you know, just... And it was like, basically, you know, why would she say she was tied up in knots if not to set up this punchline? And like, oh God, it just makes me think about any time I'm at like at a BDSM party and there's like a discussion going on. They're like, you know, I don't know, someone will make a joke about being all tied up, you know, appointment wise or something, and then everyone will laugh and just be like, ha, 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 ha. I mean, it's basically just, you know, one of those jokes about, you know, how there's like different types of jokes, like inclusionary and exclusionary.
Oh yeah, sure.
But it's interesting that like it gets such a huge laugh just because like everyone's like, yep, that's us.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Chad.
I don't remember anyone but my family ever being mad at me. Christian says this to Anna, and I don't believe him at all because he's a huge asshole. So
Yeah, he's like a fucking business tycoon. Surely he's like fired someone.
Yeah.
Sure, you'd think so. But can we actually think of a time where someone was angry at Christian during the course of this book? Other than Anastasia? Kate was mad at Christian.
Kate, yeah. I didn't even think about that until just now.
Jose was probably mad at Christian.
Probably not in front of him, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Passive-aggressively angry at him.
Yeah, pretty much any time that Christian is in a room with another man, they're like, it's like stereotypical like alpha male posturing.
But that's not really angry. That's just like, that's different.
Yeah.
I feel like probably Mrs. Robinson must have been mad at him at some point, like in 7 years.
Not yet in this book has she been.
Well, I know, but like at some point in their 7-year relationship, surely she was mad at him.
Wait. What are you getting 7 years from?
I'm just trying to think of a thing how long was it?
Not that long.
From 15 to like through college, right?
Not through college, I don't think. I think it was like right up until he got to college, and then there was
a little bit in college.
Yeah, I don't think it was 7. Maybe I'm wrong. Why don't we look? Because that is something I would like to know. I can't spell the word 7 if I can't see it. If I can't see my little fine box, I spell like Savane.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of 7 years, because he was like, I haven't had to justify. Okay, so we can figure it out. So he's 27, and he hasn't had to justify himself to anyone in 7 years. So since he was 20, so it was 5 years. Close enough.
Close
right?
enough. Yeah.
Anyway.
Man, there are a lot of the number 7 in this book. It's really weird. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you know what they say, I don't. Lucky, whatever.
7's a round number, and it's nice, and people like it.
7 is the sexiest sounding number. All right.
The 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. In their 5-year relationship, sorry.
Oh, I didn't.
I feel like she must have been mad at him at some point.
Perhaps,
you
but
know?
she had so much control. It's like maybe it didn't even matter. I don't know. Let's move on. Was it that bad when I spanked you the first time? No, not really, whispers Anastasia. It's more the idea of it, he prompts. I suppose, feeling pleasure when one isn't supposed to. I remember feeling the same. Takes a while to get your head around it. Actually, the issue was that you didn't provide proper aftercare, Christian. It's funny how in only a couple chapters you can completely forget what happened, and you are the fictional character that this happened to.
Yep. This may be another issue with writing
Continuity?
Yeah, and just writing like she was busy. She might have done like 1 chapter a week, like I usually do, and I always forget shit. Chad?
He's standing there naked, gloriously naked, and we're finally having this conversation. And I'm naked too. Neither of us has anywhere to hide. Yeah. This is like really sloppy and like heavy-handed, like, oh, we're both naked, and now we're having a conversation where our feelings are naked.
I can't wait to get to the dream in the next chapter.
It's Chad again.
Yeah, let's just cut this.
I want to talk about it, actually.
Oh, okay.
Ominous.
What's your favorite film? Anastasia asks when trying to get to know Christian better. Today it's The Piano.
So I was thinking this is a very strange film to have as a favorite film because, as we've discussed, like...
Amongst ourselves,
I've never seen it. I only remember seeing... the only thing I remember is seeing an old rerun of SNL when I was, like, 13 maybe, and seeing an SNL parody of a trailer for The Piano. I've never, like... seen the movie. I've never seen ads for the movie.
Yes.
It's from like 1993. And like while it was very like critically acclaimed and like Oscar push, like I've never heard of it.
The movie that time forgot, The Piano. And like I was too young to even be aware of this. Like I saw this and I was like, okay, a movie. I thought of what is that other movie that Adrian Brody is in? The Pianist?
The Pianist,
yeah,
yes.
By
Also
Roman
Oscar.
Roman Polanski. Okay, well, anyways, the point is I didn't know what this movie is. Cherrydoom kind of knows what it is. I think Chad knows slightly more what it is, and that is a function of age.
It is about a mute pianist who falls in love, probably, and there's like a scene of a piano on the beach, and that's what was parodied in... Oh, and like Anna immediately knew what it was, even though we're like the same age, and
Well,
but I guess that might be
Anastasia's
because it looks like it takes place in like a time when she would, they've got
glamorize
those
it.
wacky
Yeah.
bonnet hats. Also, one more thing I want to say: in the fanfiction version, his favorite film is Good Will Hunting.
Oh, that's
And
a way
he
better
says
favorite.
it could only be Good Will Hunting, of course.
Huh.
So, in the time of between writing the fanfiction and publishing the book, he did change his mind so that today it is the piano, whereas previously it was Good Will Hunting.
Interesting.
That's
And
really,
Anna
really
says, "Of
weird.
course, silly me. Are you a math genius too? So many accomplishments, Mr. Gray."
Wow, that's like a way better interaction, even though it is like Mr. Gray or whatever.
Yeah.
Why could it only be Good Will Hunting? What a stupid line. Anyway.
Okay. Anna does some sleuthing about the scars on Christian's chest. "They're not chickenpox," I muse absent-mindedly. "Grace said he was hardly affected. Holy shit, they must be burns." And then later, she asks, "Did she do that?" pointing to the scars. And then Christian says, "She, Mrs. Robinson? She's not an animal, Anastasia." And my first thought was, uh-oh, because I have done cigarette burns on people, and I love it. It's great.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, and I must bring up these questions again for our listeners. Was this done with consent?
Of course.
Did the person like it?
Oh. Well,
Okay,
I mean,
but consent though. I mean, well, did they like it because they are masochists?
Yes.
Okay, then I think you're all right. And some people get scarred very easily, and some people don't. I think in the case of cigarette burns, those don't really go away. But from what you had told me earlier, they were in a place that was not easy to see.
They were not noticeable or, apparent. I took good care of them, and
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, and then I thought about it more, and like his immediate reaction of like, no, only a horrible person would ever do that. But of course, it wasn't done to him with consent. And,
Right, exactly. It was done when he was like
a child.
4.
So yeah.
So, and also like the person who did it to him was an animal.
Yes.
It's interesting how intention and consent can change so much. But anyways, goddess chat?
My inner goddess leaps up, cheering from her chaise lounge. She hasn't been around for the last few chapters because of she's like laying in wait while she's away from Christian, and I think there's some sort of spiritual connection here where the goddess only functions when she's within range of Christian.
Interesting. I have one more note here. Her chaise lounge. In my book, it was spelled as chaise lounge. Longue. And at first I was like, that's misspelled! But it's not. That's actually the proper French terminology. It means long chair.
That's so great, because that's what it is. It's a long chair.
It's a long chair that you can also lounge within.
Of her subconscious, Anna says, "Oh, shut up. Who invited you to the party?" And can you really invite or disinvite your subconscious to anything? I mean, it's just there.
This kind of
you.
reminds me of like if a baby was born and the doctor looked at the baby and he was like, "Fuck off! Who invited you?" It's just like the same thing. Like the subconscious is irrevocably there. You can't say that to her.
I don't want a subconscious anymore. It's mean.
All right, here we go. You're quite the green-eyed goddess, Anastasia. Who would have thought? Well, Christian, you would have thought because you caused Anastasia to have a goddess, and it's so strange that he says goddess. He does not say green-eyed monster, which is actually
As
the whole,
as is the phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he just didn't want to insult her by calling her a monster.
Yeah, but goddess, other than the alliterative what do you call alliteration when it's consonants?
Alliteration. It's assonance.
Okay,
It's
sorry,
vowels.
assonance. Okay, I'm done. All right, so other than the consonants of like green and goddess, like I don't understand. Green-eyed girl, green-eyed honey.
Green-eyed honey. My inner goddess pole vaults over the 15-foot bar. And now, so Anna's headspace now has a track and field area, which is interesting because, and I think I have cracked what's going on here. but that won't come into play until the next chapter.
Oh, I see. It sort of sounds like she's breaking free, like she's pole vaulting over a wall to freedom.
Yeah, so now she's out and will never trouble us again, hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, I know I should stop. I'm pushing him too hard. My subconscious has her Edward Munch face on again, which she actually has the Edward Munch painting of the Scream face on again.
Yeah, in our copies, Chad's copies, it says, my subconscious has her Monk's Scream face again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Chad?
Oh, whoops. Yes. So I already mentioned this before, but like hell, let's go with the truth. Are like the goddess and the subconscious agreeing on something? It sort of seems that way. That's alarming to me.
So I think we should raise the fucking level.
Where's the fucking level?
Raise it.
And the level name is Krakatoa Volcanic Cloud that causes screams gray, because that is the painting of the scream. It is a guy screaming at the crazy sky because it's scary, and it was caused by Krakatoa. The smoky volcanic elements in the air made sunsets really crazy for a period of a couple decades.
That's
I
so
think.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. All right, fashion chat.
He nods at my brand new green silk camisole. The color suits you, and I was wondering if it does suit her.
It kind of depends on the green, but I would say yes.
Okay. Also, this seems sort of like maybe a little bit of a wish fulfillment on the part of the author, like, oh, a dude actually notices the thing I'm wearing and that it suits me. But maybe I'm just cynical.
No, I don't think so. I think usually when men give you compliments, I don't know, maybe Christian being like an artistic soul is different, but it's usually like, hey, you look hot.
Yeah.
It's not like, wow, like the chartreuse accessorizing that you paired with, etc., really accentuates. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so he's dressed in customary white linen shirt and jeans. Is this customary?
It's customary for him. He's worn it a couple times.
I guess he has, but like I don't know. I don't think that's a good look. I wear like a white linen shirt. I think that, or just like a white button-up shirt with jeans. Meh. Bleh. I think that you should wear it with like a. Not that I'm not saying you can't do it. Just saying that you could stand to do something a little bit more creative, like not blue jeans. You could wear some khakis. You could wear some fucking chinos. Maybe like a weird, I don't know, some salmon chinos. Try it. Tell me what you think.
Favorite line. I'm going to have you in the bathroom, Anastasia.
It sounds like, oh my goodness, I don't want to say this because it's really horrible.
Like the bathroom is a pseudonym for her butt.
No, it's where he's gonna give birth to her.
He's going for a water birth. Also, he says, like, I'm going to have you twice in this chapter, and I don't know if he's ever said this before in the book.
I'm going to have you. I'm going to keep you, no matter what anybody says.
But it's just, like, a more just terrible dialogue, like, I'm going to have you. It's very, like, stereotypical romance novel, like, and then he had me. Also maybe a little British? I don't know.
It is a bit British. A bit.
No one else has any favorite lines? Seem to recall.
Oh, I did. I forgot to. Well, I didn't know. Anyway, it was the like, yes, I paid for sex line or whatever. Like,
yep, I've paid for sex, Anastasia.
I've paid for sex, Anastasia. Yeah.
Okay, Anastasia is talking about her mom is a fucking wreck and has too many husbands, and she's like, I think she's finally found what she's looking for in Bob. Pity she couldn't find it with Ray. Like, aw, shit! This is really offensive and funny.
Well, I don't know. She's just a poor kid from a broken home.
Yeah, but I know. But it's just like pity you couldn't have stopped me sooner. What a shame! What a shame!
What?
Like it's just like it's such a gloating thing to say. Like,
yeah, I guess so. So what was good? I'm still not sure about this whole Mrs. Robinson thing. Anna brings up her concerns clearly this time, though, so that's good. She says, she's a pedophile, that's my problem. but Christian again is like, no, she's not. We gotta stop talking about this right now. And also he mentions that like she saved me from going down a bad path and was a force of good, because I guess like he was a delinquent or something and he was gonna head for like maybe, continuing the cycle of abuse or whatever, or like have drug problems or something. And like she got him into BDSM and fixed him. I don't know about that. I think there probably maybe better ways could have been done, but yeah, I'm really curious to see how this turns out, even though I don't want to read the other books. Also, Anna brings up her concern about, or my concern about Christian's contradictory wish for her to be defiant, but also not defy him. So I'm glad these things are being addressed, and even though it makes the books a little less hilariously bad.
I agree with Cherrydoom about the questionable nature of Christian's relationship with the Mrs. Robinson character being brought up again. And also apparently he's talked to this Flynn person about it.
Dr. Flynn.
Yes, Dr. Flynn, whom I hope is not just like a robot or something, like some random object that he calls doctor. Like if he just sits in a corner maybe, and just there's some furniture that he just rambles at. He's like, Dr. Flynn, I've got something to tell you, and there's just like a house plant there.
Well, I mean, it's good to talk, to just voice your issues, even if it's to no one. Sometimes you just need to tell it to yourself.
Yeah, that's what gave birth to the whole internet.
He's an armchair psychiatrist. He's literally an armchair.
But I mean, does he have a degree?
Good question. Don't know.
There's nothing in the rule book that says an armchair can't get a degree.
That's true.
Well, it has a double meaning, you see, because an armchair psychiatrist does not have a degree, and yet an armchair psychiatrist, boom, could have very well gone to college.
Yeah, he was just like in a frat house and then left on a street, and Christian picked it up.
Well, what if it's just a chair that has been in so many psychology classes that it basically can have a degree at this point?
But why would there be an armchair? I mean, this came up on an episode of House, where House kicked out that old guy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was an arc in House where he needed to pick new doctors to be on his like diagnostics team, and then he made it into a big game, and one of the people was like this older, like middle-aged guy, and eventually House realized that he hadn't actually ever gone to medical school. He'd just like he was like a janitor or something that had sat in on a bunch of medical classes. Yeah, sort of. Basically. It was Good Will Hunting, except the guy was old.
Well, Good Will Hunting would have been eventually. Unless he died in that movie, I don't know. Okay, Anyways. Go ahead. If you have any more.
Safe word?
Safe word, okay. The tampon business, it's gross. I mean, she treated it sort of tastefully, and that no blood was mentioned.
Oh, wait, we have to say what happened. So, when they're about to have the period sex, Christian's like, are you on your period? She's like, yeah.
She's like, did you take your pill?
She's like, yeah. And he just takes her tampon, pulls it out, and throws it in the toilet.
And then puts his dick in.
And
I think that this is kind of gross. Like, period sex in general, not necessarily gross, but I don't know, I just feel like the act of having someone take a tampon out of you is very strange and kind of a violation. I feel like, that time of the month is very personal, and I don't want anyone messing with it.
Yeah. So this is trigger warning time. We've already discussed that you guys are allowing me to talk about this, but if you are a listener and the last part made you mildly uncomfortable, you should not continue past this point.
But get over it. It's natural.
Yeah, get over it. A couple things. So they have unprotected sex. First of all, you're not safe when you have sex during your period. Anastasia is, however, because she started taking the pill on the very first day of her period, and under those circumstances, you are indeed protected.
I thought that the way the pills worked was that you take your placebo during, or that maybe that's different when you just start
Yeah, when you just start, you do... It's like the first day of your period, you start taking that pill. Day one start, they call it.
Right.
Okay, but when you're not starting your pills, when you take the placebo pills, it's... God damn it! Speaking of which, that's my pill arm. Hey! So I am cough. I just talk about this. But, yeah, when you take your placebo pills, you will bleed. However, it is not period.
Oh.
Anyways. Second thing I wanted to talk about. Alright, it's kind of interesting that E.L. James put this in, but then she decided she didn't want to go all the way with it. Here's what I mean. You may be wondering, Chuuurls, why would you say that? But here we go. Period sex has intense consequences, usually. Usually kind of looks like a bit of a crime scene, and she does not in any way talk about that. Later, she only says, and this is like a couple paragraphs later, he's standing there naked, gloriously naked, with my blood on him, and finally we're having this conversation.
I mean, they were doing it in the bathroom and in a bathtub, so it would be maybe a little bit cleaner, but still,
I mean, they were later, but, like, to start out with, I mean, how graphic do I need to be?
Also, they, I just noticed this in the next chapter, but they, go to bed after this. There's a time skip, so who knows what happened. Maybe she put another tampon in, but then they're nude in bed. And no blood is mentioned.
Well, she probably, but they took a bath after they had period sex. Even though they had sex in that bath.
Yeah, but she wouldn't stop. She'd still be bleeding.
Yeah, but I think that, yeah, she probably got it under control. Yeah.
But
probably,
maybe probably.
Well, in your purse, in anybody's given purse at any given time, you probably have, like, a backup thing.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking.
Anyway.
Alright, so my safe word is actually next.
Oh, oops.
Okay, he says, I think this is like, yeah, talking about Mrs. Robinson again. Anastasia, enough, he snaps sternly. Blah, blah. Or I'll put you across my knee. I have no sexual or romantic interest in her whatsoever. What? If I was Anastasia, okay, so when she's bringing up an important topic, he's threatening to spank her. Does that sound like an adult discussion to you? Because it does not sound like one to me.
Doesn't sound like a good Dom discussion.
Sounds like
either.
a fucking tyrant, and like they're not in a scene either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. If it was me in that situation, if somebody threatened me like that, I probably would try to hurt them very badly, especially if it was a man who was bigger than me. I cannot really stand this lack of boundary. Like, okay, Christian's supposed to be like this experienced Dom. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, like, this is supposed to be fun, like the spanking thing, and this would not, I feel, fall under that.
Yeah, that's negative reinforcement. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Also, he says to her, "You're not a great submissive." He breathes, holding her chin, his eyes dancing with humor. Okay, no wonder she's not a great submissive, you fucking idiot. You're a terrible Dom. Like, ta-da!
Chat?
I didn't like the sex as a distraction thing. I think Cherrydoom brought it up earlier. In general, this whole chapter was pretty bad. There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's almost nothing
Whole
good
thing,
about it.
bad, terrible, awful.
And, like, the situation is really contrived, too. Like, oh, I just happened to be in your hotel. Let's fuck!
Forget learning more about Anna's family. It's all about Christian now. Again, still some more.
Forget about it. Alright, it doesn't look like we have anything in the spoiler dungeon. That door will stay shut for today.
Yes. Alright, so...
Okay, well...
Later,
Later,
baby.
baby.